welcome. Good morning and welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg and it's the 4th day of March 2024. And yes, I'm back in the saddle again here and ready to go full on for 5 days a week now because you know what? I'm sick of the fake news. I'm totally sick of it. They are not talking about anything that's real. It's all distraction. And it's going to take some of us committed digital soldiers, perhaps anons, to actually come forward and put the real stuff out there and make people question everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything needs to be questioned. Because you know what? The good guys and the bad guys are all feeding quite a bit of disinformation, misinformation, because that is what happens in the theater of war. And we're dead center in the middle of it. So today I want to bring on a new friend that I absolutely love, Rayla Campbell, who is running for Secretary of State in Massachusetts. And quite honestly, whether she ran for Secretary of State or not, we would be friends because she's a truth teller and I love her to pieces. So anyhow, morning, Rayla, how you doing?
Good morning, Donna. I love you too.
I had such a nice time the last time you were on, and it's really fun because you're like me. You will say anything that needs to be said, and it's, you know, of course we like people that are like ourselves, but you know, I'm so disgusted with the liars out there and the people who are gutless cowards who won't say what needs to be said. That I have no words whatsoever for it.
We see that happening a lot, and people, they get afraid and they hide in their own shadows. And you're looking at them going, Jesus, how many times did Jesus tell us to be not afraid? And you allow all these other people to sit there and attack you instead of standing up and protecting your God-given rights. For me, that's where we need to be those leaders, those pillars that they look to get out there, to find their strength. And we can do that because we have faith in the Lord and we know that He is guiding us. And right now we are at war and we have this major battle in our own country, not only just at the borders, but with our government taking away our rights. And it's trying to turn America into a communist state. And we can't stand for that. I mean, we fought and died for freedom, especially in Massachusetts. It's the pillar and it is the home of liberty and where freedom began. And it's very important that we're educating our children, that we're re-educating America and having them wake up and look at what your Constitution says. And you have the rights, you have the voices. By what authority do these people have to come in and take away your rights? They have none.
Well, and you went back to something that's really important. The basis of this is in society, you have to have law and order. And the Constitution was written for a moral people. And they said outside of that, there are some problems with that, which means that what is the problem? Is the problem the Constitution? No, it's people. It is the heart of people. And, you know, you and I'm sure you've heard it. I've heard it all the time. You know, I got it. You work for us. I'm like, well, since I'm not elected to government and I foot almost the whole bill on this, I don't work for anybody right now, you know? And so I can say whatever I want to say. And you know, we get to kind of like talk to each other and say, you know what, you're kind of out of bounds here with statements that are being made, such as the one that those types that I heard. But we have to get back to God, period. End of story. That is the entire problem with what's going on right now. And what I'm seeing is, and Jesus talked about this. He said, be careful that you don't follow another Jesus. And that's somebody that is an imposter. And we just talked about imposters on Telegram because we both have experienced it. I just get in there and, you know, I take them out. But there's so many people that come in the name of God who have no attachment to God whatsoever. And once you get in and see it, it's like, oh, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. It's like, okay. But when you start listening to what they have to say, it's like, you got to ask a few questions. And we have gotten into these protected statuses of human beings. You know, you can't say anything to somebody who's Jewish. You can't say anything to anybody who's Christian. You can't say anything to anybody who's a woman or white or black or polka dot or who the heck ever knows what it is, you know? And it's like, you know, reparations for Native Americans. How about we do, well, I'm a Native American. I don't know about you. I was born here. And And I'm thinking this way, right? I'm thinking we do reparations for everybody, and we go after the criminal politicians. We claw back and seize all their assets, strip them of their citizenship so they can never do it again. They can't vote, they can't hold office, they can't do nothing.
Exactly.
We take all of their ill-gotten gain and we give it back to we the people, like all of us. We throw it in the middle of the table and divide it up against true Americans and patriots, and maybe even use it to fund the deportation of illegals. I don't know, but I think we can get the job done.
I know we can.
Just for 1 second, because I've got one of my screens. I got to get some power to it, but I can hear you, and keep talking, please.
Well, it's true, especially when we see what is happening right now on the border. And then you got both Trump and Biden down there, and Biden can barely even walk. He's the reason why the border is broken. And now he's like trying to blame everything on Trump and then asking Trump to come and work with him. When you look at what the president did and how he had the Remain in Mexico policy, now look at the number of Americans that are being murdered. That 11-year-old little girl, that right there in itself should have all of these politicians shutting the border down. But then they're like, oh, Biden's going out and saying, I can't do anything. My hands are tied. Well, he can do everything. He did it when he first got in office, and he had all of those executive orders and took away all of the policies that kept America safe. And now what we see happening here in Massachusetts is we have a huge influx of illegals. They're being put up before Americans are being put up. And now our lovely Governor Maura Healey, who I cannot stand, it wants to take money from Medicaid and redisperse it to help house illegals. Now, that is misappropriation of funds. That is 100% illegal. But do you hear anybody even talking about it? No, the newspaper reported that this is what she wants to do, but they gloss over that you cannot do that. That is illegal, and you're taking away from Americans. You're taking away from single moms. You're taking away from veterans. You're taking away from our children as well, just like they did in Roxbury. All of those children, and remember, they're all the Black Lives Matter people out there screaming, we got to protect Black rights. They just took an entire building away from all of the kids. The only place that these children had to go after school for sports, for extra help, tutoring, everything, they took it all away from them and put illegals in there. And now we're sitting here going, gee, I guess you guys really don't care about Americans. No, we already knew that. But when it's hitting people in their own neighborhoods, they're now getting fed up. You have homeless people that are pissed because they have no place to go, yet these illegals are coming in and they're getting everything. $3,000 a month, brand new clothes, brand new shoes, driver's license, which automatically registers them to vote here in Massachusetts. That was a law that they passed a few years ago, even though they say, oh, no, we know we can opt them out. No, you can't. It's an automatic process. The RMV should have no place and no say with registering people to vote. That should go by your cities and towns and your town clerks. But yet we've got a one-sided government here in Massachusetts, and they'll just keep shoving everything down your throat and making sure that you have no say, or making it so the people are afraid that they have no say. That's more of what is going on. But we have the voices, we have the rights, we have the law behind us and the Constitution. And that's what we need to be doing right now. We need to fight them hard, and we need to give it right back to them. Use their words. They are the ones that are telling you how evil they are and everything they want to take away from you. We've got to expose that and let people know. Look at what they're saying. They're literally telling you to your face that you do not matter, that these people who aren't coming here to seek asylum because they can go to any other place, they're just coming here because Joe Biden said they can get free stuff, and that's what they're doing, and they know it, and they know how to use the system. Plus, they're being released all over the place, but the violence is ridiculous. We have so many smaller towns and areas that are having, all of a sudden, there's break-ins, there's robberies, the murder rates are through the roof, and they're going after your children. That's the part where America needs to wake up and look at all of our children that are being murdered right now.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And honestly, where do you put the fault of all the crime? Well, it's on anyone who's sitting in the government right now for refusing. That little girl that died, the 11-year-old, whose fault is it? It's our government's fault. because they're allowing this stuff to happen. That means that everyone sitting in the seats has aided and abetted this crime. And I mean, this is pretty simple to figure this out. I mean, and they can't explain their way out of this. That they refuse to have any form of lawfulness. And this goes to the judges. The judges are corrupt as heck. I mean, you look at how much Soros paid to install them all, and it goes right from the bottom to the top. And one of the biggest concerns I have are the clerks, because I watched what our clerk in my township did and broke 4 election laws by listening to Jonathan Brader, head of Board of Elections, and on the board of Eric. You know, I'm going to keep repeating this, just like President Trump is the rightful president of the United States. And, you know, just to make sure everybody gets this, you know, because this is one of those things, you just don't gloss over this. And this is what they've been doing, you know. Did you see that out in Arizona? There were a couple of gals that finally stepped up and it quoted Marbury versus Madison. And Marbury or Marbury, I don't know. I need more coffee. But at any rate, they quoted that, and the entire board walked out. And they gave him notice, though, and it was pretty epic. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. That's fantastic. You have to send that to me.
Kind of fantastic. And here, I'll see if I can bring that up a minute, and you know, you can keep going here. But I'm gonna see if I can find it, because it was pretty epic the way that they did it, and they have I don't know, just tremendous documentation, which I think they did a really good job.
I made a post the other day, and I was talking about, you know, what is happening with our children in schools in this curriculum and the grooming and indoctrination. And I'm like, wait, hold on. It is illegal. It is illegal. Obscenity laws. Okay. You cannot push this stuff on children. It's 100% illegal. And it says it right there in the federal law. So I posted it out there. Of course, it's got tons of shares, but I'm getting silence because I'm quoting the laws that are on the books. So people are like, well, where are the sheriffs? We've got to get sheriffs in there, and we've got to make sure that we are arresting these people. That's a statement. You have to do it, and you have to do it right now.
Right. And I do think that there's so much that the sheriffs can do. The sheriffs could, you know, first of all, let's kick all the 3-letter agencies right out of our counties and tell them to, you know, move on. You know, they don't have the right to be there. And it starts with simple things like that, like knowing the law and saying, okay, this is an illegal action. And you need to be out of our county, out of our state. And hang on a second, I think I'm getting close here. You know, out of our county and out of our state. Oh, here it is. This is great. Okay, I'm going to put this up. It'll take me just a minute.
You're teaching my children and others.
That's awesome.
I think this is, no, that's not it. Teach my children. Nope, choked. Almost there, but choked. Let me write this really quick. Here it is.
Can you see that?
All right, here we go. This isn't the full text, but I thought this was a clip of the end of the board meeting, because I did go through the board meeting, and this is one that was clipped out of it. And I'm going to start doing some short clips too of our interviews here, because I think this is important. But
can you see that?
Yeah.
The context of this meeting, and the meeting rules was followed accordingly.
This was yesterday.
This meeting belongs to both of us, on both sides of the dais.
Whisper.
So with all of those things in mind, Marbury versus Madison, Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, Arizona Constitution, Article 2.
They know they're about to get fucking served.
We're going to, reinstating the public, sorry, we are giving notice, please, to correct this action, give us our time. Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to call on the county attorney to talk to us a little bit about the meeting rules.
oh yeah, we got to
Marbury
be gutless
versus
and
Madison
call
overrides
the
your
attorney.
decorum or your made-up rules.
This meeting is now adjourned.
Yeah, quote the law, and they run.
Wow.
You are being served. You are being served. You are being served. You are being served.
And out the commie
You
cowards
are being
go.
served.
I-
We will vote in new officials.
It shouldn't be
Like
like
Howard.
It shouldn't be like this. It's only like this. You
You are treasonous.
because of you guys, because you're corrupt. It shouldn't be like this.
William.
Sovereigns are ready to go ahead and hold meetings. Since they have vacated, we are ready to go ahead and sign in volunteers.
All right.
Out of necessity for the Republic of Arizona, it is our job. Then you're you are now acting as an act of treason. This is my right to free speech, sir.
They're out. You've done your job. Look at them.
Yeah. So
Did he put his hands on her?
I thought it was great.
Did he put his hands on her? It looked like he was about to grab her.
Yeah.
See, and that's something that we were saying. We were starting here in Massachusetts, like we are putting these officials on notice, and we have jock signs that we have been sending around to having everybody sign them. You have got to put them on notice. You're being served. We're putting you on notice. And again, they have to respond, and they have to show us how they're not violating our rights, and how they're not, and how they are upholding the law, and they cannot do that. So we have to remove these people, all of them. I've never seen so much corruption in my life when it comes to politicians and their overreach. And they think that they really do think that they are above God, because they feel like they have the power. We are taking that power back because we gave that to them. And now we're going to have to take it back. And we're going to have to make sure that they know that we're going to fight for our country, for our children, for our rights. And they are on notice, and they need to be put in jail. All of them. It's disgusting when you see the lack of respect, the lack of integrity, and what they're doing to the American people. They're literally right now trying to replace us. And we can see that no matter where you go in this country, you can see your country does not look the same. And there are so many people that should not be here, and they're getting more rights than you. How is that possible? So it's time to put them on
war. It's a tactic of war. When you go into another country, or when a country takes over another country, they try to erase the culture. They are there to seize the land, the assets, and such, and the nation or the people that are there, that were there. I mean, what do? They kill them off. They repurpose them. They put them in camps. They do all sorts of things. And I mean, our government's been guilty of this. They're already guilty of it. They've already done this before. And so it should not be a surprise to anyone that the decline is there. But the great thing that we can say, which I think is kind of an important topic to bring up, is the fact that, you know, we serve the kingdom. The kingdom of God is a higher purpose, and that is one of service to God and man, right?
Yep.
And I love it when Jesus said, if you take care of the least of these, you're also taking care of me. So all of these people that are sitting in the seats, they're basically slapping God right in the face, because they've set themselves up as little gods. And you know, it's funny, you know, you can hear every word that comes out of their mouth. It pretty much lays them out, and it convicts them right there that they're guilty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like I say all the time, the devil always shows his face, and he will tell you right to your face how he's going to screw you over, and do it with a smile. And people, like, when you look at what's going on and what these politicians say, and they do it just like, no, we're helping you. You need us to do these things. And it's like, no, you took an oath to uphold and protect our God-given rights, which are protected by the Constitution. And they have all violated that oath, all of them. When we see what's going on, they've all, and especially now where you got the Super Tuesday tomorrow, you got them trying to keep Trump off the ballot for charges that he hasn't even been charged with any insurrection from a dinosaur old law that was in the Constitution. You're sitting there going, wait a minute. He hasn't been charged with a crime. He is the rightful president, because we know if you actually did the numbers, but again, we have a lot of people that have Common Core math, so they don't know how to add. But if you added up the numbers originally, I'm like, how is it that more people than are registered to vote in this country voted for Joe Biden? Can somebody tell me how this adds up? And nobody could answer that. And I was like, if there's nothing to hide, why not recount the ballots? that shows right there that there's something behind.
First of all, they can't, because
Yeah.
they're all contaminated, and so they made sure that it was contaminated so the whole election couldn't be audited, which right there was grounds to decertify the election and go
Yes.
back to the fact that, you know, and if you have a there's two ways to go with this, but generally there's more than two ways to go with this. Actually, we have so many different ways for recourse, it's not even funny. But honestly, all you have to do is have a little common sense and look at it. Common sense isn't the same thing as having the proof, but we also have the proof that it was fraudulent. And I'm just going to say it. It wasn't a failed election. It was fraud.
Yeah.
And they Nestle buried it with the state police here, at least part of it. And that was enough to decertify the election right there. You could have decertified it on any one of these counts, but there's so many different counts. It's overwhelming.
It is. My thing is I couldn't believe when I woke up the next morning, I was like, what do you mean they stopped counting? How do you stop counting?
Stop counting and just, okay, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I've got to go to bed for a few hours. Well,
when has that ever happened?
Right. And it's like, if they did it right, and they did it like with paper ballots at the precinct level and such, I'm like, they'd have that puppy counted. And even if they had a couple of disparities with it, in 2 hours flat out the door, time to go have coffee and a bran muffin or something like that, and then, it's insane. But they specifically complicated it so that they had more time to cheat.
Yes. And that's the whole thing with mail-in ballots, which is unconstitutional. And I think it's Georgia that just a judge stated that I think it was Georgia, that mail-in ballots are unconstitutional and violate the law. Yeah. I was like, okay, now here we go. Now we've got to do it throughout the entire country. Now we have precedent. They love to use that word. Set precedent. There's precedent. And we already know that it's unconstitutional. That's why we have absentee ballots, and there's checks and balances in the way of that, especially if, they're doing mass mail-in ballots, and our military that's overseas don't even get their ballots until well after the election. And then you think they're going to count them? No, they go over into a little box there because they know it takes longer to get to them. They're like, oh, we got to mail it out 45 days in advance. Okay, they're in the middle of who knows where, and it's going to take almost like a year to get them their ballots. Seriously, we're not stupid. But yet people act like they need the government to tell them everything. And that pushes to them that narrative that the people are stupid. They need us to tell them how to do things, but we're not. And that's when people do have to get back to common sense and realize exactly what is happening and question everything. I mean, I listen to them and I'm just like, wait, what? Like the whole thing with misappropriation of funds. Why didn't anybody pick that up? And it's just like nothing to see here. And the same thing, the Seaport District. They came into one of their brand new buildings and they said, oh, we're going to house all the illegals in here. You have no say in it. And the people stood up and they are mad. And the officials are just like, oh, too bad. We're doing it anyway. So that's when people need to stand out and block this from happening. This is this is where we live. This is our neighborhoods. You have not even asked us. We are not allowing this to happen. And you stand out and you protest and you don't allow any of those buses in. You don't allow any of those people on your property. That's how you got to do it. We have got to put up a human wall. Now, we see the left is very good at this. They shut down a highway by chaining themselves across the damn thing. And I'm like,
super gluing themselves to the freaking road.
Yes.
I watched that. I'm like, going, what kind of a moron super glues themselves to the road? Because there's going to be a day, I'm pretty extra sure that somebody's going to be totally sick of this and go, I'm just done. Consequences are worth it. And not that I'm advocating it, but I'm going to say right now, you kind of gave yourself no way out,
Yep. Yeah, I was like, okay, what if there was like an ambulance, it's emergency, right. They're flying to the hospital, somebody's like, gonna die. They're gonna run right through those people. That's just what's got to happen, because they're not going to stop. Well, they have the life in the back that is hanging in the balance for these yahoos that want to sit there like a bunch of idiots. And usually they're like, this is climate change. And you're just like, and now everything's racist. Everything's racist. It's like global warming is racist. I'm like, please explain that to me. How does that work? It's just what they do and the tactics that they use. And then you've got the conservatives, the Republicans, the independents that are sitting there going, well, that's just stupid. But yet you don't push that out there and show everybody how dangerous these acts are and what they're doing and how come these people aren't being prosecuted. But yet you've got our patriots that went to the people's house. There was no insurrection. I'm pretty sure that was in the 70s that they had that, where they're burning things down and the people's house. But that didn't happen. And now we've got our American citizens stuck in gulags in America being fed schlop and stuff that you would just be appalled by. And they did nothing wrong. And this is just a way to silence the voices, as they call us, the ultra MAGA. I'm like, if it's so bad to be America first, how come you're a politician? Because you should be America first.
Right. Absolutely. It's an insanity. So we've got a few people in the chat here that are talking up. Marbury versus Madison. Thank you, Charlotte. And usurpation and infringement. Why your government is guilty. I'm no longer involved in the party. Brute force globalist clowns. I can't say you're wrong there. I mean, I can't say you're wrong. Have you seen what's happened in Michigan here with Christina Caramo and Pete Hoekstra?
Yes, I've been watching all of
what end is up, and both of them at this time should have been removed, because Hoekstra, the only words I want to hear out of that guy's mouth, the only words are, yes, I signed the Patriot Act, not once but twice. I broke the law, and this is what I'm going to do to fix the problems that I started. And here's another thing that's really odd. How come it is that they basically dissed some of the patriots, the MIGOP, and this goes back a while, and they were there was a guy named Joe Langlois that owned the Deltaplex, and he hosted 2 of the Trump rallies there, and I happened to be able to talk to Joel, and he was they were going to do the third one, and he had something that he couldn't do, but at any rate, Thrive Time came around, and they dissed Joel, and they went to DeVos, the DeVos place, which is Betsy DeVos. You can't tell me that these people are not in bed with, say, what's happening and what's happened with, say, Amway. Amway was out there, nature boy and girl, talking about all these natural products, and they have 4 facilities producing the vaccines. The Johnson & Johnson vaccines. And then Joel Langlois thought he was doing the right thing. Actually, I wrote something on it yesterday. I should put out a full thing, right? A full report on this, because this is actually something I saw on the ground, because, I will actually, do my own research, and I will find out, and I will talk to people and find out, and actually have some firsthand seeing this done. Well, Joel was going to give him a place to do the vaccines because he really thought it was the right thing. I mean, nobody knew what we had right at the beginning, right? What did they do? They took it over to DeVos's, and I think they got paid $12,000 for a certain period of time, where he was going to do it for free, because I think the county was paying them in order to house the vaccine drive up nonsense, poison and kill the people shots. And and Joel, they really dissed him, and it's really too bad, because he's a true patriot. But they went right there to the MIGOP, went right back there to DeVos's. And where was the convention this weekend? Amway. Now I'm going to tell you what. Okay, Christina should have been removed. There's no two ways about it. I saw it. She wouldn't put the funds up there. There are things that are not making sense because there are multiple accounts and such, right? And there were some big problems there, huge problems, financially and otherwise. So, and I'm not going to go into that. I've already done that, right? So,
I've seen it.
So Pete Hoekstra comes in, Mr. Patriot Act, And now it's further divided. So now we've got, you know what, it's like turkeys. Have you ever seen turkeys in a field?
Yes.
Whatever happens, they follow. They go,
Yes.
and the whole group. Well, we got two groups of turkeys, one going for Hoekstra, one going for Karamo, not realizing that there's not just two choices in this world. You've just turned yourself into the uniparty within a party. You're
right.
Still, they're working to tear down this nation. The Democrats and Republicans, now the Republicans against the Republicans, to tear down this in order to what? Subvert the will of the people.
Exactly. And that's
all doing it.
We see it. So the Republicans are just tearing each other down and eating their own instead of actually unifying and coming together and fixing what has happened to our GOP. When we look at how divided it is, when you've got, especially here in Massachusetts, they just had some event with Nikki Haley, and I'm like, didn't she go away yet? I mean, seriously.
Why is this woman even talking at this point in time? Her real name is Nimrata. So I'm like, she's not a bird brain. She's an Nimrod. That's
what I saw.
She's a Nimrod. Why is this woman? Well, I'll tell you. Maybe it's because we need to have somebody that is really not quite on par with an acceptable IQ to show absolutely how ridiculous and absurd this is. It's absurd. The whole thing is absurd.
I can't stand it. And like when you see all the infighting, and so we're fighting each other, which we shouldn't be.
Right.
The Democrats are also fighting us. And then you got the people going, this is gross. I don't even want to be part of any of this party or either one of the parties. And that's why we have so many that are unenrolled, and they want to be educated and they want to know what they're getting into. And that's why so many people are like, well, I don't vote. I was like, well, why don't you vote? Because it's corrupt. And I'm like, well, when you don't vote, you're giving your voice away. You're giving your say away. And that's why all of this stuff happens. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter. My vote doesn't count. Yes, it does. Everybody who keeps saying that, if you show up and you go on election day, because it's election day, not month, that drives me nuts. I ran on that. I was like, seriously, it says election day in the Constitution. One day. And I'm just like, if everybody gets up and goes and doesn't make excuses, oh, it's raining, oh, I'll go later, oh,
I gotta reorganize my sock drawer, I got my friend that I'm gonna meet for coffee, and it's just getting in the way. We're just gonna blow past it.
Exactly. And that's why we have this country the way it is, because everybody's like, oh, it doesn't matter, oh, it doesn't affect me. Yes, it does. Every single thing affects you. And when you vote, you know that you're putting these people up to represent what your community and what you believe in. If they're not doing that and you don't go and vote, guess what? They're going to stay in office because the Democrats have a really good machine that they keep using. And what they do is they scare Republicans so they don't run. So in Republicans, there's nobody running on the Republican side, and the Democrats, the only ones running. So guess what? They're going to go right in. You have Democrat versus Democrat. It's just like, well, where are the Republicans? And that's what we have so much here in Massachusetts, is they're running unopposed. So that's already a seat for them. And then you're looking around and everybody's complaining, oh, I can't say. It's like, well, get up and do something. And you can start locally within your town.
Yeah, whose fault is it? If somebody's sitting there complaining and sobbing, it's your fault because you haven't done anything. Yep. It's like you can sit there and complain and think, if people can think that they know the answer is full time, but if they're doing nothing, okay, so it doesn't matter, and even, okay, so I went to a lot of the grassroots groups and that sort of thing, and most grassroots groups were just bitch fests. They'd sit there and they would, it was like most of these other groups, they would sit around and they complain and sob and try to educate each other. And I'm going to tell you what, I believe that a lot of the grassroots leaders were the same political operatives that tore down the Tea Party years ago. They just repurposed themselves because this is one large machine, and every single person or organization, not person, but every single organization out there, if it got any traction or had anything good in it, the risk was that they were going to be infiltrated, and most of them were.
Yeah.
And so if you looked at who was actually running there, you can see these people move back and forth. They move from one organization to the next. They might be involved in 4 or 5 of them. It's the same way campaign finance works. You give your money to a candidate or to Win Red, for gosh sakes, who hacked my credit card. And, watch what happens there. That your money is not going to the candidate unless you know that candidate well enough to know that they're not all of a sudden you're going to get into their campaign finance report and see, oh, well, that campaign laundered money into the hands of X, Y, and Z, or it went back to the Republican Party, it went back to somebody else when they lost because they were the designated loser. And so because that's what they'll do, they'll designate a loser. And when they lose, guess what? The money goes back to the corrupt party to go to candidates you would never, ever agree with.
Right. And that's when a lot of people stop donating. And
I would donate to anything at this point in time unless I knew somebody well enough to go out for coffee and say, if I see one dime of this, moved into somebody else's campaign or to the Republican Party or something, and there's not a refund to your donors when it's done, if you lose, I'm pretty extra sure I'm going to raise holy hell with this. And, it's like I saw that, Ryan Kelly in the state of Michigan, he had one precinct that there were more voters. Let's see, there were more donors in that area than there were voters for him. That's statistically impossible. You don't get more donations in an area than you do votes. Impossible. It is impossible. That would be an act of God on par with, I don't know. I don't know. But at any rate,
amazing.
he never contested the election. And I was running against him, and it's like he never contested that. He backed out. He stopped. Every one of the gutless Republicans that ran in this state, gutless cowards, backed out or conceded. Tudor Dixon conceded before the votes were even counted. But those things have to be contested, and you have to follow it to the end. And I'm like, if he didn't contest it, where'd the money go that they all donated? And why didn't he return it to the donors at that point in time? Why did this get scooped up and redistributed to the party? Because these people are salesmen for the parties. They're salesmen. They don't really care if they win or lose. No, it doesn't matter. Win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter. I'm just here to support the party, and then all of a sudden turn up with a $2 million house somewhere, like said candidate apparently did.
Wow.
And so it's like it's the craziest thing. Crazy.
I saw that here in my own state. First of all, the convention was ridiculous, where they were like, you got to pay $5,000 to speak. I'm like, don't people donate to the party?
I had the same thing. You got to pay to participate in the party. If you go to their events, you got to pay to speak.
It's a pay to play.
Yeah, I was told a $10,000 entry fee to go to the convention, the Republican convention, to be there or speak or anything. It was like, well, if you otherwise I was going to be shuffled in the back room somewhere and never seen or heard from, And that wasn't even the 20 grand that I was told that I had to pay just to get on the ballot by an ex-congressman.
Oh my gosh. You had to pay to get on the ballot.
So he said.
We got that, and that is in a lot of states. I see that they can just pay to get on the ballot. In Massachusetts, you have to collect signatures. So you have to actually go out to the people.
I collected the signatures, and this was like the only way that you're not going to be, torpedoed by the party is to pay 20 grand to, and it was connected to, say, the rulers in the MIGOP at that time. So it's told.
Oh yeah. So you pay, and then they'll either help you or try to get you a little boosted up, but you're still not the candidate that they want. So they'll keep you around and make you feel all good and nice, like you're gonna win this, and then they pull the rug right out from underneath you, and they're like, oh, by the way, you gotta give us this back. You lost, you're gonna lose this, so you should donate all that money back to the party, and we can help this other candidate. And you're looking at them going, no, see, these people donate to me for my voice, for my vision, because they believe in me, not you. And that was when they tried to do that to me. And I was just like, no. And I'm still going around and talking to people and bringing awareness as to what's going on. That's why I get invited to a lot of stuff. And I'm traveling all over the country to show people, like, we have got to talk about what's happening in every state, because it's coming to a state near you. So we have the illegals getting driver's license, which automatically registers them to vote. Now you got other states going, oh, they're trying to bring in a bill that says they're going to give illegals driver's license and automatically register them to vote. And I'm sitting here going, how many years have I been saying this now? When it happens in other states, you need to pay attention, because it's going to move to your state. Look at Oregon. Everything that is, all of this stuff that is coming out and that is happening, it started in Oregon. It is nuts. That is like the epicenter of all the corruption, the DEI training, you know, the reparations now that everybody wants to be screaming about, the election fraud, the mail-in ballot, like charted mail-in ballots. Everybody gets one. You don't have to request it. Everybody just mass mail out of mail-in ballots. Now, if you go to Oregon and you see how many people are living in their little tent colonies, that's what I'm calling them now, because usually it's like a tent city. It might be a little thing. No, these are like colonies of people living in tents, and all of them get ballots too.
I got a question here on these little tent cities, slum central. If any of us, which I own some income property, even came close to the squalor that these people are allowed to live in without the cities or the municipalities, any of these that have, you know, code compliance, you come out of there like a bat out of hell on the rest of us. And these people get to sit there in squalor, you know, crapping on the ground or whatever they're doing there and such, which is a public health violation and such. If we had one, I'm not kidding you, these people that are inspectors, we had to house them somewhere, okay? Because they don't like most of them don't have a skill set. Some of them do, but not all of them. If you have one drop of paint on a doorknob, they'll write you up for it. But they'll let these, I'm not kidding you. I have walked through, it's gotten better. I helped rewrite some of the code compliance rules many years ago, because they were such power hungry little tyrants that were marching around here like little Hitlers, right? And it's gotten better. It's gotten much better, but it was very hostile at the time. But I have watched inspectors walk through a property, and I look up and go, oh geez, you know, tenants broke something and there were bare wires that were hanging out. They'll blow right past it and go to something that doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. And they're not even schooled enough to know what a real threat is. And you look at the tent cities. I just saw one this past weekend that there's a tent city that caught on fire burning, and they're like, oh no, a tent city is burning. I'm like, what did you expect was going to happen? You've got, you know, it's just like the emotional support animals.
You know,
I can't even. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I can't even. We had one person. I'm gonna write novels about the crazy stories that people do someday, and it's kind of like maybe telling stories about what a wonderful job of raising children the snowflake generation has done for this nation. We had one person that had an emotional support animal, right? Oh my gosh, we got to approve her for that. There was so much dog crap on the floor of the basement that we had to send somebody down there to fix a furnace, which is a skilled trade. You have to have it. Fell because he slipped on the dog crap in the basement. Oh. So now the dog's living in dog crap because this emotionally trained wreck of a person can't even take care of the dog. And now they created a problem, but we got to feel sorry for them. And so we put an animal. I've seen it several times. The animals are in horrible abuse because people can't. And so now you've got one problem creating another problem instead of dealing with the problem at the core. I don't know.
I see it too. And when it comes to the animals and the emotional support, all different types. I mean, when you go to the supermarket and you got someone who has a cat on a leash sitting in the front of the cart where your kid usually sits, you're looking at them like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, it's bizarre. It's weird. And nobody does that. And I see people do it with their dogs. Somebody walked into the bathroom with a mask on and their dog with a mask on the dog. And I'm going, no, I couldn't. I was like, oh, that's just fucked up. I can't take this. And I'm like, bring dogs into the bathroom. I walked out. I could not believe, it was just the most disturbing, messed up thing. And I'm looking at these people and it's just like beyond COVID brain. There's a lot of mental health issues here. And that's what happens when you shut down hospitals and, you know, you take them out of communities when a lot of people need help. They don't need animals. They need some mental help and intervention because there's something wrong there. There's a lot of screws that are loose going on there because I can't take it. Every time I see someone with their animal in the freaking shopping cart and I'm like, that's where you either put your baby right there and there, or when they're a little bit bigger and you put the thing around because kids are not, and now you got a dog in there. And then they're worried about COVID. So they got a mask on while your dog's tongue is sticking out by all the produce section. Come on. It's like, seriously. And they're like, well, we put the produce. We're going to move some of it into these refrigeration units. But all the rest of it is still sitting out there like they took away the salad bar because of COVID. But I'm like, you took the salad out of the bags and you poured it into the thing. And now you're taking that all away because of COVID. But my apples, my bananas, my potatoes, they're all still out there in the COVID air. So tell me how this works. It's just, again, they think that you're stupid. People are like, well, you got to be so sensitive and you can't say that. And the PC police, and you got to be accommodating to everyone. No, you don't. It's like, these are the rules. This is how it works. You don't like it, go to a different store. That's just ridiculous. Just like school. We couldn't go to school dressed like a freaking animal and asked to have a litter box. My mom would have backhanded me across the room. Like, what did you just say to me? And I look at these parents and I go, that's an issue. That is a major issue. Boys do not go in the girls' room. Girls do not go in the boys' room. You do not put pads in the boys' bathroom. Sorry. Newsflash, boys don't get a freaking period. That just doesn't happen. So why are you putting pads in there? Oh, because you have people that are identifying as something else. When you identify as something else in your own time, this is school. You got to learn. There are laws.
Let's go back to this. Okay, this whole thing. When a guy, and I mean a guy, I've never been confused. You and I are not confused on what a man and a woman are. Okay.
Yep.
Having birthed children, I cannot possibly bring myself to helping somebody along their mental health insanity. And it's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it because it's like, I'm sorry. You want to go in there and have your body altered. That's great. But if you're going to do it, then you got to do it all the way. I want to see a doctor in there with a hole saw on your pelvis. So, because it's like, you know what I mean? They dig up the bones later. You're going to have a male pelvis, which is little, tiny, tall, and a female pelvis, which is wide. All right. It's like, that's why we've got the hips, the butt, the thighs, the whole 10 yards. And I'm sorry, it ain't happening unless they can give birth to a baby size head out of that pelvis. I'm done. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've always said, if it were up to men to birth a baby, we'd be done. We'd absolutely be done right there. And it ain't going to happen.
No.
And I home birthed my kids. That was a great experience.
Well, I want to have another one, and that's probably what I'm going to do because I was like, all of my kids came out so fast. My first one was like 10 minutes. I pushed twice and I could feel a little feet kick out. I was like, that's weird.
Right. I hate you at this moment in time because mine weren't that quick.
Oh, my second one, she was like falling out. I was like, just stay in till we get there. And the same thing with my son. He was sunny side up, but then I just sat on the ball and I could feel him rotate. And then he just came flying out. I was like, what the? But also, I had corned beef and cabbage after all of them. And I swear, that's like a laxative. So, right before I had them. Yeah, it was both my daughters. So January is 3/4 of the way to St. Patrick's Day. So there's always corned beef on sale. So I was like, and I made corned beef and cabbage. The Patriots won. There was a snowstorm. I went into labor. The second one, Patriots won. Corned beef and cabbage, snowstorm. I went into labor. And then it was third time's a charm. Same thing. I was like, and I held off on eating my corned beef and cabbage on March 17th because I didn't want him. I wanted him to have his own birthday. So then I had corned beef and cabbage on the 19th. The Patriots had won earlier. I won that Super Bowl. And we had a snowstorm. Went into labor. I was just like, wow, everybody's like, you should probably not have corned beef and cabbage when you're about that big. I know, it was delicious.
Right.
I was,
and
I was
it
like,
worked.
wow. Yes,
Like,
just flying right up.
Right? Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
my last one was born underwater in the bathtub. It was fantastic.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I got up because I threw up with her for 9 months. I was sick every single day, and I had a plan. So I went and I made lasagna, and I arguably make the best lasagna on the planet. Like, I like to cook, right? And so I had this ready because I knew, I was like, okay, I'm in labor. This is going to take about X amount of hours. And I literally, when I went in labor, I put the lasagna in the oven. I was at home, so I just put the lasagna in the oven, delivered the baby, came out. First act after I got out of that thing, because I knew I wasn't going to throw up again, I ate lasagna, and I ate a lot of lasagna. And it was a beautiful thing. And then I did the dishes afterwards. And yeah, it was a beautiful thing. Did the dishes. Hubby was exhausted, went to bed, and I did the dishes. It was kind of funny, really. It was really funny. But yeah, it was
only a woman can do that. Only a woman can do that. So
not only are we made for it physically, but we're made for it, mentally. It's like that's great. I got a baby. How cool is this? She's so cute. And then just get right at it because you got kids to raise.
Exactly. Like, great, the house still mess. Let me get up and clean that. You just start going.
That's right. We don't have time. It's like the snowflakes. Honest to God, it's like I listen to stories about mamas that used to have baby be hanging up their laundry on the the clotheslines and such. They're talking to their neighbor like this, and one gal's got like 8-10 kids or something, and the other one's a little bit depressed because she doesn't have enough kids, right? Keep her busy. And she's going, why are you not having a nervous breakdown with all these kids? She's like, I don't have time.
No, I don't have time. I gotta keep going.
Lose my mind and be crazy. I got too much work to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I look at these parents now, and the helicopter moms, and everybody's got to have a participation trophy. And
they got if you don't treat their little babies the right way, their whole goal is not to take care of their kids. It's make sure everybody in the world panders to them.
Yes. And I'm like, that's so weak. It is beyond weak. And then these men that want to claim that they are, women and taking away women's rights. And we're all the feminists right now up in an uproar.
Right.
And when it comes to sports, the damage that is happening to some of these children, these young girls. I mean, we had a team in Massachusetts in the first quarter. There were 5 girls, or I think it was 4 or 5 girls that were injured by a boy who wanted to pretend that he was a girl playing on the girls' basketball team.
They just want to beat up on women. They're abusers. It's abusive.
Yes. And I'm looking at it, and they forfeited. They were like, no, and they were winning. And they were like, we're not doing this. We're not. And I watched the dude like throw one girl to the ground, and I'm like, what is going on here? And the same thing with the field hockey. Now, field hockey is a girls' sport. That's why you have regular hockey for boys. Field hockey is a girls' sport. We wear skirts, and I'd never played it because I was like, that's too much running for me. I'm a sprinter, so I just quickly go and then we're done. But this kid hit the ball so hard and it just destroyed this poor girl's face, and everybody on the team had to sit there and watch it. I mean, she's completely disfigured, and to see someone's jaw just get shattered and the families and everything. And what are they doing about it? It's like, this has got to stop. That's why we fought so hard, and the women's rights movement for women to have their own sports. And now you're just giving it over to men. That it does not make sense to me. And if you want to identify as whatever you want, that's fine. Go do that. But don't force it on me. I don't have to accept it. You can be accepted by whoever you want. I don't care, honestly. It's like, I really don't care. You do what you want. That's good for you. I don't have to pretend like it's normal, because it's not.
It's not
And I'm not
really.
going to teach my kids that it's normal. It's not. And this behavior, now it's become like a fad, and everybody wants to just, oh, we've got to be so inclusive to the alphabet community. And I'm like, why? Because they're taking away rights from women. They're taking away rights from our children. They want to groom them. There is no reason why a grown man dressed like a sideshow circus scary freak with all the makeup and the hair and the fake boobs and everything should be sitting there reading a very inappropriate book that's always in comic book motif to a child that tells them to do certain sexual acts, and people like, well, that's okay. No, it's not. It is not. These books and what is in these books, and that's why it needs to be read aloud in the floor, in the House, in the chambers of Congress. These books need to be read out to exactly what they're in, because if you're going to take away Huck Finn and saying that, they use the N-word and that's bad. Well, this book tells kids to taste their own vagina slime, and has them go to a place called kink.com, which is a pornographic website and a grooming website. Not only that, it has young male on older male sexual contact, telling children to use dental dams and to experiment with multiple partners. Yeah, guess where you want to use your dental dam? Not a condom, use a dental dam. I'm like, Oh, and there's the non-microwavable plastic wrap. I've never heard of non-microwavable plastic wrap, but yes, use that as contraception as well. And oral sex isn't really sex. So that's another thing. When they say oral sex is not sex because it's not penetration. I'm pretty sure the word sex is in oral sex. It's like they just want to check. No. You can experiment with multiple partners. You should experiment with multiple partners, and you should use all of these different things and try them out. These are in books, and it is explained to children. And someone actually posted it, and I took a screenshot of it. One of the books that traumatized me, I actually had to walk out of the library because my friend picked it up and she was like,
traumatized right now. It's like, this is traumatizing.
You should, and once you see the images, they'll never come out of your head because it's all comic book stuff.
And that's like what they're doing to the kids. It's like, like you said, they're programming. It's not going to come out of their heads. And why is it that they're pushing all of this stuff instead of virtue? Why are they not, teaching them valor and honesty and bravery and courage? No. They're teaching them to accept all of these things, which will only lead to destruction of a human being. And
yes,
it's this is all that they're teaching, and they're glossing over so much of this. And why is it that think about this? Okay, think about this a second. Just came to my mind. Wasn't it John Gacy who dressed up as a clown and was a carnivore? Pedivore, carnivore and such. And how did they break in and wear people down? It was dressing as the clown. Why is this trans nonsense with our children? The drag queen, isn't that kind of the same thing?
Yeah, they look like clowns.
And it feels like it to me. And it feels like it, when you see how many people that are have been picked up for pedophilia within that construct, you've got to start thinking about what's actually being said, or what's the agenda behind it.
Yeah,
it's and they may be using people. It was like Dylan Mulvaney with Bud Light.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like sitting there going, okay, if you want to go base level and tell me you care about an individual, let's really break this down. You're letting a multinational corporation take advantage of somebody who is potentially mentally ill and say, we love you, we love you, we love you, we want you to be your spokesman. You know what? Their attention in any of that PR, advertising, whatever, is only a flash in a pan. And what were they going to do with this guy as soon as they were done using him? he was going to be done. Guaranteed that there was it was just using somebody who was mentally unstable, looking for being like a 6-year-old on a stage.
Yes.
People to recognize them and say, you're special. I'm going to help you. Anytime I hear those words out of anybody's mouth, I want to help you. I'm here because you're special. I'm like, get the hell away from me. I don't want to be anywhere near that person, because that, that's manipulation.
Yeah.
Flat out manipulation.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much what they're doing, is because we already know how bad the sex trafficking ring is, and how we have so many NGOs that we know are funneling people in and using our own children, especially on TikTok, and how easily these kids get persuaded by someone to come and do something, and then they disappear. They're being trafficked all over the place. Why is it that we don't hear all of the missing reports of all the American children that have gone missing or have disappeared?
And stuff through HHS.
Yeah.
CPS is like the biggest child trafficker on the planet. If you don't call out Catholic services and Lutheran services, Bethany Christian services, all of these ones that are getting paid by our government to move human beings, that is human trafficking. And they're making big money off of this.
Big money. And we
Big money.
see it. It is so much. And then when you're looking, like, people think that this is so great. Catholic Charities is such a great organization. Then you find out, look at all the money and look at what's going on within these organizations and how children are just disappearing. There's something wrong here, and people aren't aware of it because it's not talked about. So that's why it's important to be keeping all of this information and getting it out to the people and showing people what is happening right in your neighborhood and in your communities, and what the government is doing right behind your back. It's time we call them out, and we have to hold them accountable, because if we don't, this country will cease to exist. They are trying to eradicate us, and we can see it.
Let's talk about something else. This is actually a great segue into something else right now. And the segue I want to go into is possession laws. Possession laws, which is really, they were designed in order to shut down, especially when it comes to pornography. They were really designed to shut down actual investigation. And that's because people like you and I, we are going to be very careful about where we search for information and to look at it, because you know what? If you're in possession, even if you're investigating it, they took away our right and they censored us by those laws of good people actually looking for it. Now, not to say that somebody should be in possession of this. I don't agree with that either. However, I think that there's a lot of people that have gotten in trouble for looking into things and actually just looking into it because they really wanted to find out, and they turned it in, and the cops charged them, even though they were reporting something that was a crime. They were being reported for that. I saw something on some young guys that were in Chicago. They were playing by a railroad track. Same thing happened. They found some firearms and ammunition, turned it into the Chicago police. They threw them in jail for a day and a half. They were like 14 years old or something like that. Those guys went back out to the track the next day, and the same guns and ammo were sitting right on the track again. And so they go after people that, and we should have the right. It's not solving it. We should have the right to investigate these things, but they are controlling all of this information, and it's wrong. The possession laws need to change radically, because if you had moms, dads, whole communities around say like somebody who's committing pedophilia, those communities should absolutely be able to go and find those people and turn them into law enforcement without threat of being prosecuted. They can plant stuff on you and on our computers that are like that. They can tape a bag of drugs to the bottom of your car, and all of a sudden you're going to be charged with. That's one of the threats that we have as running for office, was for them to set us up with something. And I think that's where a lot of the threats have come in blackmail to our politicians. Even if we had somebody that was good, they get in there, they're gonna blackmail the crap out of you, you know.
Yep.
And yeah. Those things have to be changed radically, because what it's doing, it's not going after the problem, it's hiding it. and it's hiding it to protect the politician. Do you know that the only, I got to think about how to put this into words. There was a politician that somebody leaked his porn video record from like, it was one of the places that used to rent out movies, and they leaked it to the press, and all of a sudden there was a law written to protect the video records of people renting videos. Now, why would that be? I imagine it's the only thing that's really super protected, and it was designed to protect politicians.
Exactly. Exactly. And they do that. They make laws to protect their own interests and protect them, but it's only for politicians, not for the people. So again, when we see the laws that they'll push through, and the same thing that goes with when you're running for office. Okay, I'm still a private citizen. I'm not an elected official. So there are things that people cannot do. They cannot threaten me. They cannot dox me. They cannot stalk me, follow me, threaten to gang rape me, threaten me of murder, all this stuff, and not have consequences. But they were like, well, you're a politician. No, what's the definition of a politician? It's an elected official. Yeah. I'm not an elected official. I'm still a private citizen. And you guys need to be upholding the law and protecting me. This is the reason why so many people get afraid and they don't want to stand up. It's because they allow the government to use their words, how they want to perceive the laws to be and who it protects, when you're not an elected official yet. So you cannot be opened up to all of that. And you need to hold them accountable. One judge is the only one that actually stood up and was like, this is repulsive. And she gave a warning. She should have actually found him guilty and put him in jail.
Right.
And it's just like, why are we giving people warnings? This is, look at everything that they did. They've had forced me to move out of my house. They threatened to murder me, threatened to gang rape me. I have 3 small children. I've got people following me, taking pictures of my license plate everywhere I go. This is stalking. And why is it that we're not doing something to protect the everyday American citizen who is just trying to do something better for their country? I'm not an elected official. I should have been protected, but I wasn't. And yet here I still am. I'm not going away. And I'm still fighting for everybody else by exposing what they're doing and then bringing what the laws state. We've got to do this. We've got to be strong. And we've got to make sure that people know their rights. And that's all through education.
And the other part of it that's a very noble and it's a worthy cause is that they have everything. And so whenever any one of us is threatened and such, it's they're not really getting away with it. I think we're getting documentation on this. And I have complete faith that, first of all, God knows everything, and he's keeping a record, and it's going to have to be paid at some point in time. But also there's some really good people, and I'm pretty sure they've got everything. President Trump, the rightful president of the United States, in fact, stated that. And I believe that is to be true. And so with watching what President Trump has gone through and some of the other of us have gone through, I'm pretty sure it's like dangling a little bait out there. Let's see if somebody will take this. And let's find out top to bottom. You know, it's not just the people in our government, because the people are the government. These are representations of us, which means we're also guilty if we engage in these activities. And I'm pretty sure that when he said we have it all, they have it all. That's to the last person on the planet here. And I'm really happy for that, because like, I don't have anything to hide. It's like, if there's anything there, I can guarantee it was planted, because it's like, and I'm pretty sure the same thing with you too. It's like, there's a lot of good people out there. And if there's anything that they find, well, there's going to be checks on it, because they've got 17 ways of Taiwan to sit here and gather information on all of us to develop a profile on who we are, what we're talking about. We know they're recording every single message that goes out there. Exactly. Every keystroke you've ever made and erased.
They do. They do. And it's scary like that. Ooh, hold on. There's someone at my door. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to shut my camera.
Fantastic like that, because if you got nothing to hide, you know, it's like,
Exactly. There's someone at my door. I'm just quickly
Okay.
grabbing.
don't you love the screen thing where you stop it? It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm gonna read a few things on here. Oh, we got Hawk's Design over here. Too bad she said officials, not public functionaries. Yes, they're public functionaries, and not overreach is usurpation. Point taken. We've got a lot to educate everyone on, and so that's wonderful when people have specialties. The election was more than a fraud; it was hijacked. Well, yeah, but fraud was also committed. So that's a good one to be able to have something that you can actually prosecute for. But it's more than that. It was a threat to national security, which is far above fraud, actually, and it was treason. So let's call it out. Too bad we weren't ready for de facto boards as soon as the elections were over. We could have had legitimate audits and overturned elections. Yeah, and watch what they did. They took this. Let's audit. We need to have a forensic audit, which I was for that at the beginning until too much time elapsed and it gave them too much time to hide things. 1963 Constitution is under attack. Well, it's illegal. So let's go back to the fact that it was installed illegally, Charlotte. Governor Whitler has changed to a foreign communist state, correct? I heard about a heart attack, looking into the new amendments. We need to put our Constitution in action and stop the Marxist commie tyrants' de facto government. Usurpation, infringement on the duties of one office, Lansing circus of Marxists needs to be removed, correct? And Marbury versus Madison, and you thank you for the correction there. What's going on between Caramo and Hoekstra, Detroit and Grand Rapids? Oh, I don't know. They're just confusing the hell out of everyone and completely disgracing, discrediting the what's left of the Republican Party.
It's a mess.
Why your government is guilty? It is. The government's guilty because they're breaking the law. That's pretty easy. If you can quote the law, this is why we've had our elections reversed. When I look at all these election integrity people, nobody's quoting the law. They're making people feel like, well, I know what's going on because I'm listening to that. Well, that's great. How you can fight it? You might know it, but you still don't know the law.
Yep. Trump says it's ruled in favor. For Trump can be put on the ballot.
Yeah, it can be. That is the law.
I'm like, this is awesome. So the Supreme Court, so therefore all of these other cases should go away. We're trying to keep Trump off the ballot.
Leb says Hoekstra is a loser. When COVID was on, I called him and he told me it was just, he was just coasting because his time as rep was about to run out. Leb says Amway has started a pyramid scheme. Oh yeah. One mask or two face masks, global commies. DeVos made it known in the early days they're globalists, but people didn't pay attention. Uncle got caught up in their pyramid scheme. Oh, that's too bad. He's charged, let's see, She-One DC, he's charged now with the J6 political scam. Globalist octopus got him. Constitution supremacy is all I want to see and do. Yeah, because it like constrains the government. Corinthians 15:38-42. All transgenderism is a lie from Tom. Charlotte says transgenderism is a crime against humanity. Doctors are mentally ill, should be jailed for practice of such. Abortion clinics are the root of the problem. Abortion deaths are an assault weapon. Well, it's you got to sell the babies. I mean, that's what they're doing. And we don't even know if they're alive or dead. I just posted something that showed a person in the early years that was convicted of 5,000 deaths, and they grabbed babies in the hospital and told the moms that the babies were stillborn and they sold them.
Oh, like that guy out of Pennsylvania that was selling the parts.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's disturbing.
It is disturbing, but if we just say, oh, we gotta protect their rights, really, maybe those people's rights are being violated under the guise of something else, just like the borders. I honestly think we've got to protect these people that are coming across the border. We've got to protect them. They're refugees, and we need to protect them. They're coming from such a bad place.
You see how bad they are?
Yeah. And not, yeah, right. And not only that, it's like you're protecting them. You're creating a pipeline for them to traffic children and I think there's a lot of people that is coming through that pipeline at the border that are being trafficked themselves. It's not just that they're invading the nation, which they are. It's a great way to get an invading army in here, but they're trafficking human beings.
Oh yeah, the cartel is something fierce, and we can tell because they come with badges now, little tags attached to them. So they'll put like little zip ties with different colors, so they come from different cartels, and they're all being trafficked through. And I'm sitting here going, nobody sees this as a problem, but
right.
how long of a route they're coming? I'm like, you could stop them, or have all these other countries stop them way down there where they're starting to caravan from, because it doesn't make sense to me. And when I look at the influx of people coming from all over the world, I'm like, well, how'd they get to Mexico? Because they had to get on a flight. They didn't come from Africa across the ocean and swim.
Yeah, they walked across water from Haiti. That's how they got to Mexico.
But it's like there is a funnel there and there is money in there. And that's why we have to pay attention to what's going on exactly within our government, because there's no reason why they would open up the borders the way that they did. And they all had shirts, remember, originally that said, Biden let us in. Who made those? And how'd they all get them? And then we're talking about it and we're watching. And what do you see? All military age men. They'll throw some women in there a few times just to make it look good, but it's mostly all men. Look at the plane from Afghanistan. I mean, when I looked at that, I was like, look at how many terrorists you see on that. And they just dropped them right here. Here you go, America. 164 terrorists on the terrorist watch list that you came in contact with, and you let them go, but you're watching them.
They didn't just let them go. They shipped them in.
Yep.
You know, it's like our government literally shipped them in, paid the bill, bought the plane fare, and such. It's like, this is not. So what did they? Oh, they paid $3,000, a person to get over here. Where'd you get the money from?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, sorry. That was going through wasn't it going through I don't know, let's just say Ukraine? Wasn't this like going all the foreign aid that's going all over the nation, all over the globe? Paid by
remember you had to pay their salaries too.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the biggest problem. And then when you look at all the ties and how much money, I mean, Burisma, everybody knows what was going on there. And yet the big guy is pocketing off it. Hunter gets $1 billion. Now he needs another $1 billion. But he also says that he's drunk and high all the time. So he doesn't know where all of this went.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's an excuse. I don't know what happened to it. I was not quite my right frame of mind. So now that's the excuse.
Yeah, the coke found in the White House. They just let's not talk about that. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, when have you ever found coke in the White House? And how come nobody? Oh, that's right. It's Hunter's coke. And when you see what they want to do with decriminalizing all of the drugs, like hard drugs, they did it out in Oregon. Now they're like, this isn't such a good idea. We need to fix this. We have a major problem.
Some days, do you ever feel like you're just watching a movie?
I feel, yes. So the past 4 years has been like the worst, terrible drama, action, horror show. I'm just like, okay, well, when is it going to stop? When am I going to get to the nice part of the movie? It's not happening right now. But every day it's just like this stuff. It's like you only see this shit in movies, and it's happening right now. And I'm like, I've seen that one.
What we're seeing is true, honestly, because it's like I look at the crowd scenes. Nope, not believing them. And I'm not even believing them. I mean, it's like somebody took some computer animation software and stamped them in and said, "Oh, look what's going on." Are you there? Did you see it? Do you actually know that this is what's going on? Or are you just believing whatever comes across the channels because both sides are lying their tails off?
Oh, yeah. Look at AI. So when we thought of AI in movies, robots, robots, they're flying all over things. Now
Will
we get
Robinson, it does not compute, you know?
exactly. Now we get AI, and it's like, holy crap! I didn't know that George Washington was black. Did you? Because I was pretty sure that he was white, but now AI
Did you
says
see
he's black.
all those screenshots? That was
Yes.
just crazy. And
Yes.
then did you see what somebody did to throw the AI off?
No, what'd they do?
Oh, it's hilarious. So somebody tried to do something to throw the AI off, and they put in black king of this eating watermelon and this sort of thing. And the AI spits this out, and it was something that was like shocking to everyone that it did it, but it followed the prompts. And so all of a sudden they're like, oh no. And then they had to shut it. They tried to shut it down, but it was kind of too late. And all of a sudden, all of these stereotype things, somebody went and hacked it. It was actually pretty funny because they were able to find the weakness in AI.
Good, because it's again, when we thought of AI, we thought of technology that was going to be helpful, not harmful. Right now, AI is, I mean, these kids are like, oh, I'm talking to my boyfriend. Like, well, who's your boyfriend? Oh, he's my AI chatbot. What? Like, yeah, you should hear how many kids, they have AI friends and AI chats. And when you look at all the apps, there's so many apps now for the younger generation, and they all have their AIs. And I'm like, you're talking to some weirdo behind a computer that you have no idea, and it's like all programmed, and it'll say everything to make you feel good about yourself. And I'm looking at it going, that's not normal. That is not normal at all. And it's very scary because it's getting into these children. And that's a lot of the stuff that when we talk about, screen time and cell phones and, making sure you're paying attention to what your kids are doing on the internet, because there's all these AI chatbots, even in little kids' sites. Like my kid, I have it on parental controls where it's just, he can just play his little kid games. Why is it that I'm getting a Tinder commercial in an ad on my kid's little kid game? Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. They put in, and then violence. So they'll put in a lot of violent games that are coming out. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing stuff that my kid is only 6 years old. So I don't have anything that is over the age of 13 that he's able to see. I have it blocked, like no content that is 13 plus. But no, they give them all the shooting games and blowing zombies' heads off. And I'm sitting there going, what is this? That is what is happening to this. Why we see the mass shootings, for instance. These kids are sitting there. They're playing video games. They're thinking that they're video games, or they're wearing their VR headsets. Those things drive me nuts. And they're thinking that this is reality. I can do this. This is what I've been doing because it is drug.
It's a drug. It's an addiction and a drug to avoid reality of the world. And, that's really, really sad because if everybody actually slowed down a little bit, just slow down. You don't have to be everything to everyone all the time. It's like in the Bible, God talks about it is that we're the body of Christ. That means that some of us are eyes, some of us are noses, some of us are hands, some of us eliminate waste. There's some of us are feet. There's all different sorts of gifts that God has given each one of us. But that doesn't mean that we can do everything, because we can't. And it's okay to say that I am not the best at something.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
It's okay to say, I don't know, or I made a mistake, or I'm human. This is what human beings do. We're like little kids that make mistakes. And that, in fact, I've got a great video. Let me play this a minute. I have to find it. I haven't posted it yet, but I'm going to post it on my Telegram channel. And I think this is really, really very sweet. It's a very sweet video. And I'm gonna expound on this later, but I'll comment it later. But right now I want to put this up here because it is absolutely adorable and like seriously adorable.
Oh,
Pull it up. And this is really I thought this was really does a good job of showing hang on a minute. I'm not the fastest person on the planet. However, I can get things done if I have a little time. That's what I like. Actually, that's why I like doing the broadcast live. First of all, people can't lie about what I said because it's live.
Exactly.
And you don't like what I said? Well, suck it up. You know,
I tell people, like, you got a cell phone, call someone that cares.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, I'm admitting, talk to the hand.
I remember that.
That's good, isn't it? So here, this is, oh, let's see, wrong one. Let's try that again. Let's go back to this. Didn't go down far enough. Let me see. Oh, wrong one. Hang on a minute.
It's like my phone's blowing up now. Everybody's like, Trump's on the ballot. They ruled he's got to be on the ballot. I'm like,
Yay!
exactly.
Yay!
Yeah, 9-0. So.
Okay, let's see.
Drinking coffee every day didn't work for me.
Okay, we got to go through the colon
until I
commercials.
went from 184.
Let's see. This is real cute. I had to move my screens around a little bit. I'm not quite back. I'm not quite back right now to full time. I got to get all my setups going here. This is so cute. This is so cute. This is what our relationship to God Almighty looks like. And I think this is a great segue to, you know, I really think it's a great little segue. Okay. So it's the foal next to his mama. I should get a YouTube strike. Well, it's just baby hanging out with his mom.
Oh my God.
So cute.
That is adorable. Look at it. He's trying to walk just like her.
He's gonna walk just like mama. He wants to be like mama. You know?
Oh my gosh. That is so sweet.
It gets better. So watch. Now he's gonna dance with mama. Getting away from mom a little bit. Got to come back to mom again because mom is safety.
Wow.
Wants to be just like mom.
Oh my gosh. That is adorable.
It's adorable.
That is so cute and so sweet.
Yeah. It's family.
But that's
the animals are smarter than we are. They know how it's supposed to work, you know?
Exactly. So good. Wow. Oh my gosh. I want to pet her. This is so adorable. Wait, it's like, wait, me too. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Isn't that cute?
That is so sweet.
Hanging out with mom.
That's amazing. Like, that is so incredible.
Yeah. And you know what the cool thing about it is, you know, we look at all of our moms and our dads out there and how kids just want to be like mom and dad. So guess what? We got to set the example and do the right thing every single time because they're watching. They're watching everything we do. Yeah. And it's not somebody else's fault. It's ours. And it's like, it's ours to put a stop to this nonsense that's out there that could hurt our children. We're supposed to protect them. And that's how it works. We're supposed to teach and raise up our children in the ways of the Lord. And when they are old, they will not depart from it. And so we have an example. They're watching us. And further, think about this. Think about this. That's like what God wants as Papa for relationship with us. He wants to walk with his kids. He didn't just have us to throw us to the wolves. But he is going to put us out there to toughen us up a little bit. I know I did with my kids. I'd put them in situations. I took one of my sons to India with me. It's like, want to learn about India? Okay, here comes immersion. This is going to be an immersion learning situation so that you know exactly how the world really works outside of our protected environments. It's like, no, you need to know so that you're strong enough to stand on your own someday without this protection on this unreal world that we've created for our children, where they don't care. It's all about getting attention rather than being a servant and caring. If it's all about them and we raise them that way, they're going to grow up as narcissistic little freaks.
Yeah.
And always have to have attention in order for them to fuel them to keep going, which makes them very easily to be manipulated and compromised. But think about that how much God loves us and wanted, he sent his only begotten son to die for us so that we could walk with him and be with him forever. He, and I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I mean, think about that. He wants to have a relationship with us, and we should want to do things not because we're little gods, because we're nothing.
Right.
We're learning to be able to walk and stand and have that relationship with him. And I mean, I got up this morning and I'm like, God, I just want to do things to bless you. I want to bring a smile to your face.
Right.
I want to grieve you. And the Bible says that obedience is better than sacrifice. Oh God, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how about we just obey him? Do the right thing. Much easier, quick path to the goal there.
It is so true. And I was bringing my kids, because my kids go to Catholic school. So every morning we have like a routine, we always have, and like we're singing in the car, and then we'll do like a Snapchat picture of all of us.
Aww.
And it's just like, and it's usually like, we'll do blessed or, happy Monday, and just bringing some light to everybody. And I want to instill them to this. We start our days off great. We're going to have better days. So we start our days off. We say our prayers. We get up, and, and usually it's chaotic in the morning. Like the baby's half asleep, and I usually get him dressed while he's asleep. And I'm like, okay, everybody else go wrong. But we always say a prayer, and then we'll sing on the way to school. And it's like, all right, we got to do a picture, and we do a picture, and then off they go. But it's starting them out on a positive note with light before all of the realities of everything come in and all of the stress of school come in. But when we went down to DC, it was crazy for the Million MAGA March, because that's where we got attacked. And my kids actually learned how crazy people are and what evil really looks like. And that adults really will not care if you're a child or not when they're hurling insults or calling you horrible names. And they physically came after us. So it was very traumatizing for them and shocking for them. But then they were able to understand, because the Bible teaches us that there is evil, and we have to pay attention and be vigilant and know how we can combat evil. And that's why we always bring the light out. And I'm always like positive with them. And even if I have to yell at them because I'm their mom, but then it's like, okay, this is why. I explain a lot to my children, because I want them to understand and not just be like, because, when we were growing up, it was like, why can't I do that? Because I said so. Oh, that's all you got. It's just like,
But you know what? Everybody that I know who has a tough mom loves their tough mom. It's like a badge of honor. Man, my mom was tough. And because my mom wanted the best for me. I've never seen anybody. I've got a really good friend, and he's hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious. And he's like, oh, my mom was tough. He goes, I'm telling you, she was tough. And he's about 70 years old now. And he's really, really funny. But everybody brags about a tough mom. Everybody. My mom was tough. My mom was, and it's amazing. However, there's a point where a mom, I got to tell you about a situation that happened last week. That is another thing that I'm going to admonish everyone out there that says that they're Christian. Ugh. And all of the beatings and that I took over the fact that I can be friends with everyone. Mm-hmm. I could make friends with a snail. Okay. It doesn't matter, or a bird or whatever. Training horses, you study people a little bit, and you're more interested in how do I help somebody out of their pain, or not being able to trust because they've been hurt. Right. Hurting people hurt people, and hurting animals do stupid stuff. like a horse, if a horse has been abused or feels unsafe, it's always an unsafety thing. And people are exactly the same. Exactly. Yep. People and horses are the most identical animals on the planet. Well, anyhow, I know this young man, and he was in a bad spot. He happens to be gay. And I told him, I said, you know what? You need to start being honest with people. And his mother was being extraordinarily abusive, and she's an abusive person, and he was so afraid of her that he was afraid to talk to anyone or her or anything like this. And his life was really pretty sad, real sad. He ended up telling his mom about what was going on, and his mom basically looked him in the eye and said, I wished I would have aborted you. And this is a person who admits to being Christian. It's absolutely horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Told him that, his dad only produced trash. Called trash. This has been going on for a while. It's heartbreaking. And I'm gonna tell you what, the amount of hate and vitriol I've seen from conservative Christians, virtue signaling, and not realizing that there are people involved here, and turning this into a let's beat on this group of people or that, and saying and thinking that they've got the right to destroy people, whether you disagree or not. So he asked me to go with him because he was afraid to see his mom again. And I'm like, I'll go. I'm not afraid of anybody. And this woman sat there, and I have never seen a more deranged individual in my life. Never seen a more deranged individual. She ended up calling the cops on us, the whole 10 yards. And God has a sense of humor. Cop came up, and she's like, this woman is absolutely just wanting to. I never said a word. I just sat there, and I was like, don't know what to say here. But it was a very sad situation. And God has a sense of humor. The police officer was lesbian, and he sent a lesbian police officer there. And she's like, this is why there are so many suicides in this community. She said, I went through it. To have a parent look at their child and say, I wish you were dead. Yeah. You didn't, you for whatever reason. And it was very sad. And I'm going to tell you what, I am so ashamed of people that say that they're Christian, that will go after a protected, or not a protected, a small group of people and think this is okay, because it's the same thing that's repeating. It's what our government's doing to homeschoolers right now, and saying, we're going to just go ahead and violate your rights because and I'm going to tell you, they're going to go after everyone. They'll pick us off one at a time and go after us. And I'm just going to say what I refuse, no matter how much, people have beat on me, and they've called me all sorts of things, said it's Donna Sodomite Circus or something else. I've had that said. And it's like, you know what? People are people, and every single one of us has to find our way through this life. And we can disagree with their choices. We can help people through it. But to flat out destroy another human being under any banner is absolutely disgusting to me. And this is we're going to have to deal with this, because this is not okay. This is not okay. But can you imagine a mother telling her son, I wish I would have aborted you?
I've actually had a couple of friends where they have expressed that that's what they went through as well, and with their family. And I look at them and I'm like, okay, I gave birth to this beautiful child. And if my child ends up being gay or lesbian, it would never take away.
Child.
That's my child. And I love you no matter what. I may not agree with your choices, but you can make your choices. You have that right. Those are your God-given rights to make the choices that are best for you. I'm here to love honor, protect you, and support you because you're my child and I want you to thrive. I've watched people. I had a good friend and I watched her go through the transition. She, she had a baby naturally. She went through trauma with her family. She went through trauma with the father of her kid. And she just inside herself thought something is not right. I've always liked this. I've always wanted to be like this. She still realizes that she's a woman, but she feels like a man. Like she knows that she can't grow a penis because this is not happening. But she's also loved and respected the fact that I didn't treat her any different. As much as I go out there and I talk about the books and the indoctrination and the grooming, that doesn't take away from she was my friend and she still is my friend. And whatever she's going through, I'll support her. I don't have to agree with it, but I'm going to support her. But when we come down to when we talk about things, we have so many things in common and what we want, especially for our child. And for her, she's like, it is very difficult because I have a child and my child is seeing this, but I have to explain to my child, this is my decision and what I feel. This is not how I want you to think that you have to be. And for me, that was huge. I was like, whoa, because normally you wouldn't expect, you see so much that is going on with these parents, and sometimes it is them pushing on the transgenderism to their kids instead of just letting kids find out who they are, grow out of their insecurities, because that does happen. Like when you look at the story of Chloe, right? It's so young, and having people say that you have to do this, you're in the wrong body. You need to bind your breasts and you need to start taking hormone replacement therapy, which destroys a person. And the suicide rate is high because there is that negativity. And they're like, well, maybe this wasn't right. Maybe this wasn't the decision. Instead of allowing counseling and allowing children to grow and to blossom and to find out who they are. And you bring it back to church, you bring it back to God, and you allow them to just read this and see what it says and see what Jesus is saying to you. But when you've got these, I've had my share of the Christian right or whatever they are. Those people are nuts. Okay, the stuff that they say and the way that they will attack you. And it's like, wait, first of all, you said you're a born again Christian. That means that you left the word of Jesus, that you weren't even believing in God. Now you're saying you're coming back and you're all of this stuff and anything that you do that they find to be against what the Lord says, you're just the worst person in the world. And I'm like,
and they will destroy people, and people that have that mindset, destroy people. And you know what? I'm sorry. Jesus came here to die for us in our state, in what we are imperfect. He still loved us and cared for us. He didn't come and die for people that were perfect. He didn't do it. He came here as the doctor to help us and to walk with us. That doesn't mean that people are going to change instantly, or it's not our point of doing this. And I'm pretty extra sure that anybody that goes out to destroy another human being under the name of God is not going to have a good meeting with Jesus the first time they set eyes on each other. It's like I am so. I think I'm going to talk about this more, and I think
this is a good one because I'm being attacked by these people who claim that they are
Christian enough. I got told that you're not Christian enough. What does that even mean?
Yeah,
what does that even mean? I'm not Christian enough. Okay, what other hoops do I have to jump through to make sure you, who's sitting there as judge, jury, and executioner, and little God in your own right, that Don Brandenburg is Christian enough? I literally have somebody say that to me.
Oh yeah, I've had that, and I've had people say it's not very Catholic of you, and all of this stuff. And
not Christian of you that you want to see people who molest children removed permanently because they cannot be given that ability to go on and rape and mutilate and eat and whatever they do to kids. They have to be gone. Or the people that are in the transgender movement. It's about money. Look at how many clinics. And this is not about helping kids. This is about money. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I was in a event, and there was a man who helps people who have transitioned, etc., when they realize what a huge mistake they made. And this woman had full top and bottom modification done.
Oh, gosh.
And she showed her scars on where they took the skin to make the penis out of her arm. Then she's like, I wish I would just have waited. And she sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. She goes, I got nothing. She goes, she just prayed every day that her life would end. And she's like, I wish I could go back. I wish I would have waited. And it's like, they're pushing kids into this. And it's like, you know what? This is just about making money. They're not helping people.
No, they're making them sterile.
They're making them sterile. They are taking advantage of somebody who truly needs love and help. And our society is not dealing with mental health at all. They're making money off of people who are broken and sad. Our nation is so broken and so sad. You know what? It's going to take some horse trainers who know how to sit there quietly and say, you may not have met anybody else in the world that you can trust, but you know what? We're just going to sit here until you work it through it. And I promise you to be consistent, honest, and true every minute from now till the day I die. And you know what? By the strength of God, you're going to meet someone who's not going to fail you. And that goes to everyone out there. Everyone should make that oath every day and say, you know what? I'm going to make the oath to this world that's dead and dying. If I'm the only one that's going to keep that oath, I don't have to worry about anybody else keeping it. I'm not worried about you or anybody else doing the right thing. I'm going to worry about me. And I'm going to make an oath every morning and say, if no one else is going to stand and do the right thing and be consistent and never take advantage of another human being, so help me God, it's going to be me.
Yep. That's me too. We have to. We have to stand up. And I'm like, we've all got faults and we've all had flaws and we've all made mistakes. And when you're getting attacked by these Christian right groups, you're looking at them like, what makes you so pure? And the whole, you're not Christian. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, look, God forgives me. We have confession. I go and I sit in confession and I tell God everything that I need him to know. When he gives me the strength and he forgives me. And I know he does because I can feel it. What do they have to say about themselves? When you're attacking another Christian and you're labeling them and you're targeting them because they're not the way that you want them to be. Well, did Jesus tell you that you're the one that has to tell people how they should be? He did not. He did not give you that.
I know more people that are gay and lesbian that are sick to their stomachs about the grooming of children. And they'll step out and they'll say it when straight people won't say a thing about the grooming. They shut up, they're silent. And it's because they've been labeled as pedophiles, pedivores, whatever. And it's like, they're not, they hate it as much. They don't like the gay pride flags or the parades or anything like that. They're disgusted by this because they have been targeted and say you're guilty. So all these people that want to target a group of people, why aren't they saying anything about the female teachers in school that are raping young boys? Why are they not saying anything about and making it their life's goal to go after anyone? Let's go to the cause. It's not necessarily one group. It is straight. It is whatever, straight, it's gays, whatever. But it's whoever is victimizing a child. They are guilty.
Yes.
And going after the root of the cause instead of demonizing yet another group of people that are maybe not even involved in this state-funded destruction of this nation by grooming, by the parades, by the whatever it is. It's like same thing with Antifa, Black Lives Matters, burn, loot, murder, whatever you want to call it. These are state-funded terrorist organizations.
Yeah, they absolutely are. There are, and I have so many gay friends too as well. And when we started going around and really protesting, because we're not book banners. If you want to have it in your own borders or your private or wherever you want to order it on Amazon, that's fine. We're just talking about what should be allowed in public schools, in our public libraries, where our tax dollars are being funded to. And so many of my gay friends were like, all of this stuff makes us look horrible. We don't believe in any of this. It took us forever to come out of the closet. Now we feel like we have to go back in because we're not these people that we're being labeled as. We don't want to read these books that are inappropriate to our children. We want our children to be able to grow and to thrive. We don't want our boys playing on girls' teams or vice versa, girls playing on boys' teams. That's not what they want. They want to just live their lives like every other person and not have this target and this constant label. Because you're something, you should be supporting all of this. Because you're gay, you have to support transgenderism. They're like, no, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all. I'm not transgender. I'm gay. I know that I'm a man and I'm gay. And I'm very happy about that. So why are you trying to force me being gay and saying, well, maybe I'm not really a man, maybe I'm a woman? They are livid. I have never seen so many gay people
I have
come
had
out
the
and
same
be
friends
so
and they're
mad.
saying the same thing. It's like this is not my business at this point in time. As long as you're leaving the kids alone, you're not hurting anybody else, you're doing what you're doing in your own space. I'm not going to involve myself in this. You know,
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, we are, the United States of America is, how do I say this? It was based on the Judeo-Christian ethics, right?
Yep.
And I want to find out, and I hope someday I meet a perfect person, but yet thus far I have not. And I can tell you right now, I'm not. You know, I can tell you with absolute certainty that the only person that I've ever met that was perfect is Jesus Christ, who lived a perfect life and didn't throw a stone. Pretty much everybody else, no, didn't happen, wasn't going to happen. And so to sit there and pick people apart, and we can have stands on what we believe. I believe that, you know, I know who I am. I know what I am. I am a woman. I am not a man, and I'm married to a man, and I know what that is, and I'm in a happy spot. Okay. I have a toxic male, you know, a male who has toxic masculinity that is a man's man. And there's no question there whatsoever, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm happy in my space. And so I am working as hard as I can to listen to God Almighty and to help people and to serve no matter who they are. No matter if, you know, I've got a very special needs daughter who is absolutely a high maintenance. She's high maintenance. Okay. And, you know, some of the things that come out of her mouth are just like, it's crazy. Yeah. And, you know, so it's like, we have to learn to bear with each other until we learn that trust. I don't know. I could talk about this for a while, but I really think that everybody out there that's just railing on groups of people need to just shut the hell up at this point in time. We got a lot bigger problems, and they're doing this to distract you. I mean, look at this. You'll sit there and listen to people who are Trump fans, President Trump, the rightful president of the United States. And they just love him, but they'll go after everything, but they won't bring it up that he appointed Grinnell, who is openly gay. But no, we're just not going to talk about that. You know, we're not going to talk about that because it's like, okay, well, he didn't have a problem. So, you know, it's like there's just a lot of double standards going on.
I know. And what is it? Whatever you do in the privacy of your home and who you do it with is your business. Why is that everybody else's business? When you look at politics, I mean, they want to dig so much into other people's personal life, and you're going, what is that? Has nothing to do with what they're actually.
Yeah, what made this okay? Why do you think this is any of your business whatsoever? Run along, go find something to do.
Yeah. And nobody cares. That's the thing, is they think that if they point out this person says that they're a Catholic, but yet they went out and they have got a divorce and now have a new relationship, they're not Catholic, they're a sinner. And it's like, why do you care so much about what they're doing in their personal life? instead of the actions that they're actually out there doing and how they're taking back and fighting for this country and, you know, reasserting the rights of the people and building them up and making them stronger. Because it's like they constantly want to call everybody an adulterer, or like what they did with Tim Scott. And they went after him because he had an affair, and now he's like got a divorce and he's with his new partner, and they're like, he's not fit to be president because he stepped in. You're looking at him going, well, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And then why don't you look at your own life before you judge anybody else's life? And furthermore, what does that have to do with it? That's none of your business.
Didn't Jesus say that? Take the plank out of your own eye first.
Yep.
I think that's pretty good. I have never seen, when I look at the Republican Party in the state of Michigan, I have never seen so much wicked, evil coming out of people's mouths. And it is shocking. And in the same breath, they want to turn around and say, but the Lord. But the Lord, you're using that same mouth? You're using the same mouth to say that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just destroyed another human being, and you can have the same mouth say that? I'm pretty extra sure you need your mouth washed out with soap. Where's your mama? And you know what I mean? It's like, this is crazy.
It's hatred, and it is evil. That's exactly what it is.
They will make up stuff all day long instead of talking the truth. I mean, the truth is the truth. Stick to the facts. And that's okay. You can put the facts out there, but to make up stuff just to destroy a human being, to win at all costs, God have mercy on their soul, because they don't deserve it.
Exactly. And they come after, and I've noticed this a lot with, like, your exact example of it, how they will come after you, they come after me, they come after the grassroots people, because
true grassroots.
No, I am like, yeah, they come right after us because we know what it's like to struggle. We have been through a lot. We have been through trauma, but we also have that light of the Lord guiding us. And he is on our side, and he is lifting up our voices to be the voice of other people, because people are so afraid. And that's why the attacks keep coming, but we keep getting stronger because we have Jesus behind us. So when we look at all these people and their nastiness and the hatred, we remember what Jesus says to us. And especially when you say your prayers and you ask Jesus for guidance and for light, and you wake up in the morning and you know exactly what you need to do. He has spoken to you. And when you see the evil that is coming out of these people in their mouths, that's the devil right there. And the devil will be in your face. The devil is around. The devil is trying to come and divide and to take away the light of God's people. And that's why, that's why we've got to keep that fire, keep being those pillars of liberty and of freedom, and standing up and being strong under what Jesus wants us to do. We always take it back to God. We always remember. And when we're in those challenging times, we say those prayers, and God gives us that strength. He gives us that light that we are able to overcome, and we are able to put that devil back in his place. And that's where he needs to be, in his place.
Yes, and think about this. Jesus sat with prostitutes and with tax collectors. He told them, he told them truth, but he still loved them. And who did he go over and turn the tables over? It was the religious people of the time who were the ones that killed him. Yeah. They were the ones that claimed to be God-fearing, godly people. They were in it for the money. They were in it for the control. And they were the ones that killed Jesus because he was going to mess up their little money plan. That's exactly it.
And that's the same way it is now.
It's the same. Nothing's changed. Nothing changed. If Jesus came back today, they would look at him and say, "You're not Christian enough."
Exactly.
Guaranteed they'd execute him. They would crucify him one more time. They'd crucify him again because they're right. They know everything. And they'll destroy human beings at a because they know
Drop of a
everything. It's like, this is the other crazy thing. I've got people in my family that they don't, that far out in my family, they've never really talked to me. And so, but they're sure because I ran, well, my parents were Republicans, so they were sure that I was, this, that, and the other thing, and how I think about things. They never asked me, but they are, they have no idea what I really feel about things because nobody asked. They make assumptions.
Yeah, my sister and I had that conversation because we hadn't talked to each other in a while. She's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. My whole family's Democrat.
You're evil.
I know.
Yeah,
And then we
just
started talking, and I'm like, you do see that we're agreeing on so many things. The only thing that we disagree on is who we voted for on president. I don't know why you would vote for that idiot. I mean, he can't even stand. He trips over everything. He doesn't know where he is. He stumbles on every single word, and he loves to shove ice cream down his throat when our borders are being invaded.
Right. I had a cousin tell me, she's like, you really could have really been something in life. This whole political thing has just, she was like, you really could have been something in life. And I'm like, because I'm involved in this. And do you know what I believe? And so I actually had the picture of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because, okay, now everybody wants to demonize him. And I'm like, I'm going to listen to everybody. I'm not going to listen at one point because they're all corrupt. And so, I want to listen to real people and find out what they think. And he is the only one I have ever listened to that admitted to being wrong. They say, well, he's not against the Second Amendment rights. It's like, have you listened to him lately? Have you listened to him lately? He's, it's like, listen to what he says. Is he saying it to get elected? I think you got to listen to him because there's more to this. And I think that there's a point in time where you listen, you research, you check out, you confirm it and such, because the Republicans are lying their tails off to us. Yeah. And so it's like, but they're saying all the right words. They're saying Second Amendment, but they went right ahead and went right along with Whitmer with the laws against the guns. Yep. You're not listening. They're not listening. So my cousin was like, yeah, she's like, you really could have been something in life. You just wasted your life. And I'm like, I'm still more successful than she is, clearly. Yeah. It's like, but with that said, and then other ones, well, you hate you're right now, the ones that are Democrats. Well, you hate gays and lesbians and that sort of thing. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, where'd you get the assumption from, and how well do you actually know me? Clearly,
oh yeah,
not at all. You're basing all evaluations, all of them, on your own preconceived notions without backing by facts.
Yeah. Oh, I got told I was a disgrace to the family. I was
I'm a disgrace too.
I was like, wow, that's great. Well, you just don't believe in what we believe in, and how can you vote for a racist? And I was like, show me where is a racist and explain that to me. Yeah. And it's just, it was insane. And I'm looking at them like, well, your disgrace to the family made history, so too bad. I'm going to go down in the history books forever with that.
Yeah, that's kind of a badge of honor right there when somebody calls you a disgrace. And it's like it's like you get called things, and quite honestly, I've been through a lot of crisis in my life, a lot. I don't talk about a lot of it online, but I should, because I think I should, because we can learn from either our failings or the abuse that we've gone through in life. I mean, I want you to think about what probably went on to be an 11-year-old and be diagnosed with things like, ulcers and, a fried digestive tract. Why would a person at 11 have that? Guaranteed it was because there was severe trauma.
Right.
And that sort of thing. And it's those things that you only have two ways to take things when things go badly. And I'd say I have mastered the crisis management protocol in life. And it's like, you can feel sorry for yourself all you want, or you can look at it and say, wow, God thought enough of me and knew that I'd be able to stand through this. And so he gave me something to kind of test that metal a little bit.
Yeah.
Try it out. let's see. And through that process, we become stronger. And so you can take it and feel sorry for yourself, and you're going to be a victim, and probably it will put you into Satan's control of destruction. If you're going to be a victim, you're going to grab hold of that victim. You're going to be a victim.
Yep.
It's going to continue on. But if you look at that and say, well, this really was never about me. It happened, but I never one day felt like a victim. It's like, you realize that bad things are going to happen. And that's okay. God allows them to happen. And if he didn't, he could end it that quick. But he hasn't. So there's a reason for that. And now the rest of us, if the nation is going to hell in a handbasket, there's a reason for that, to show us into strings. Look at how much we've all learned through this. We're learning the lawful process. We're learning to talk to people and realize that we're not going to put up with this propaganda nonsense and this indoctrination. We're going to be a little tougher. And it strengthened our entire nation. And I don't feel sorry for that 1 minute. I kind of go, okay, well, I guess you got a little growing up to do,
Exactly. And that's why I think it would be great if we started doing segments and putting them out there. And, just people need to hear the struggles and the stories so that they don't feel alone. And that way we can make people stronger and give them that light and that guidance and that strength that God is providing for them. They just have to be able to see it and to feel it and to believe it, because we are not victims, and we don't want to be the victim card. I can't stand the victim card all the time. It's just like, no. We are God's children, and we need to be shining that light in order for our country to heal, in order for our children to thrive and be amazing. And we can do that. And it's all through the power of voice and communication and connecting and making sure that we are reaching out to so many people, because the government's not doing it. They want people to be divided. Yep. They want people to be hurt. They want to take away resources so that you stay sick. And that is what the devil does. Wants to keep you sick, wants to keep you down. But we're not going to do that. We're going to stay strong.
Yeah, we're gonna double down. They try to tell us one thing, we're gonna just double down on it. Okay, you wanna drag this out in the light? Perfect. Let's do this. Let's do it right now, right here. And you just keep landing those blows, because every single one of them that we fire back on is gonna teach you that you got a problem. I'm just gonna read a psalm here, which I think this is great. I love scripture, and I really do. I have a couple of scripture video sources, soak stream that I really like, but to actually read it, because people are getting so far away from that, and you got to read the word. You can't just go to people and what they say about it. Read what the word says. Okay? Yes. And you can say, oh, it's imperfect. It's this, that, and the other thing. It's like, well, I hate to tell you this, but clearly you don't have the Holy Spirit with you, because the Holy Spirit will guide you in all things. And whether things are perfect or not, he does speak to you. So Psalm 32, blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the one whose sin the Lord does not count against them, and in whose spirit is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was sapped as in the heat of summer. Then I acknowledged my sin to you, and I did not cover up my iniquity. And I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave me the guilt of my sin. Therefore, let all the faithful pray to you while you may be found. Surely the rising of the mighty waters will not reach them. You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with the songs of deliverance. Think about that. He will protect us and surround us with songs of deliverance. Yeah, okay. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. He's not like bringing a hammer down on people in a way that says, come on, we'll walk together. I don't expect you to be running a marathon as a baby who's learning to take steps. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Do not be like the horse or mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by a bit and bridle. They will not or they will not come to you. Many are the woes of the wicked, but the Lord's unfailing love surrounds the one who trusts in him. Rejoice in the Lord and be glad, you righteous. Sing, all of you who are upright in heart. Sing joyfully, Psalm 33. Sing joyfully to the Lord, you righteous. It is fitting for the upright to praise him, to praise the Lord with a harp, make music to him with a 10-string lyre. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully and shout for joy. For the word of the Lord is right and true. He is faithful in all he does. Doesn't say we're faithful. It says he is. He does it for us. The Lord loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of his unfailing love. It's all him. By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, their starry host by the breath of his mouth. He gathers the waters of the sea into jars. He puts the deep into storehouses. He lets all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the people of the world revere him. For he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. The Lord foils the plans of the nations. He thwarts the purposes of the people. Think about this promise. He thwarts the purposes of the peoples, but the plans of the Lord stand firm forever. It's his plan. I keep saying that.
Yep.
The plan is God's plan. The purpose of his heart through all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. From heaven the Lord looks down and sees all mankind. From his dwelling place he watches all those who live on the earth. He who forms the hearts of all, who considers everything they do. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes his great strength. A horse is a vain hope for deliverance. Despite all of its great strength, it cannot save. But the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those who hope is in his unfailing love, to deliver them from death, to keep them alive from famine. We wait in hope for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. In him our hearts rejoice, for we trust in his holy name. May your unfailing love be with us, Lord, even as we put our hope in you. And I'm going to say to that, in the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So all of these fear mongers that are out there saying, oh my gosh, we got to pray, pray, pray. Well, why haven't you been praying and putting all hope in the Lord? Because it's going to be him who saves us. It's his war. It's his battle. And it's just for us to turn to him. He can save us at all times and in all things. Turn to God, and he is our Savior, not us. And back to that. And I'm going to just for a second, I'm going to play this because it's fun. All right, look at this baby again. So we're going to look at this baby who is hanging out with mom.
Oh my gosh. So cute. This is really impressive too.
That's what they do. Right, a mom next to a baby, they're going to stay right with mom.
Oh God. It's like the cutest thing in the world. Don't let my kid see that. She's going, my mommy, I want a baby horse. Oh, hey, Mom. Mom's dancing now. Oh, that is impressive.
So fun. So let's go into this day with complete joy in our hearts, walking next to God Almighty as we're just dancing along this day and doing what we need to do. It's going to be great. And we can have the joy of the Lord in everything we do. And it doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. Don't believe your eyes. Don't believe what you're hearing. Believe what you're hearing from God, not the world. The world is full of lies. Both sides are lying. The good guys and the bad guys. There's a good deal of deception out there. The good guys, think about this. The good guys tell what's going on. Bad guys are going to know, and they're going to come up and they're going to take them out from the backside. If you think they're telling you the truth, I got a bridge for you. Open up your Bible, sit with God, pray. We've got everything we need to do is sit here and pray and glorify God and sing his praises. And we can go through it. I go through all of it. I'm being kind of a hypocrite right now because I go through this and I bring all these bad things out because we need to learn from them.
Yes.
But the underlying, don't let it steal your joy. It's going to be great. It's going to be okay.
I amen to that, sister. And on that note, I do have to go because my mom
I do
called.
too. I'm sitting here. We've been on longer than I expected, but it's like I'm on with Rayla. This is
I
cool.
know. Well, we got to chat later on today, and then we
So
got to get stuff
let's
going.
just do it right here. Okay, here we go. BrandenburgforGovernor.com, the best non-conceder who has ever not conceding the 2020-2022 election. And with that said, God bless you. God bless all those whom you love, and God bless America. Have a great day. Make it so, everyone. Surrounding you with love today. It's going to be a great day.
Amen.
See you tomorrow, by the way. John Tater and Courtney Turner. Bye.
Okay. Bye.